Sound check, 1, 2, 1, 2.
We'll give it some.
Good evening, folks. Thank you for tuning in online. Appreciate you being here.
Just went live, and so we're gonna give everybody a second here. All right. Let's see. So if you're watching, give us a 5x5 if you can hear us. Put a 1 in the chat if you can. We'd appreciate it. Lady Jen, thanks for tuning in. All right, we've got good sound. Justin, you want to try that one? It's showing it's connected. Chris, do you want to say hi just for a voice level?
Yeah.
Just yes. Was that beeping?
Yeah.
No.
There was a beep, yes.
Do I need to say more? Can you hear me?
We always want to hear more from you, Chris.
Use your own voice.
No, don't use the mom voice.
Todd.
All right. So the second quarterly town hall for the city of Spring Valley was hosted by. You can go back over there, Justin. Yeah. Hosted by Mayor of Spring Valley, Justin, and he's got Chris with him. Chris is recently re-elected to the city council and took her seat back in January. Feels like half a year ago already, doesn't it? You about ready to go?
A few seconds.
All right.
Really?
So if you're watching and you're from in town and you have any input or questions, we will try and ask those as we come to them. If you're not from town, it's not that we don't care about you, but we're not going to pay attention to you tonight. So well, I have to say that for my viewers, people who are tuning in. So, all right,
All
Justin.
right, so we'll go ahead and get started, please. If you did not sign in, please do so here before we get going too far. And I'm sure people will be coming in as we go. But thank you all for coming out tonight. It's another good turnout. A couple of things I want to mention. First off, thank yous. Thank you to Todd for being here and streaming this live for people who can't be here in person, but then also can go back and watch it later. Then also thank you to BCT who cut their practice an hour short so that we could use this space. Then the second thing I want to mention is a follow-up from the April town hall. Council did have a working session, and it was determined that we would take a more aggressive action on enforcement of the ordinances that were brought up, the concerns that some of you had. There was something else I wanted to say about that. I'll remember probably later. I am joined tonight by Chris Danielson, council member, current council member. And tonight we want to discuss, you're welcome to speak about anything. This is your meeting. But we would like to maybe focus more so on planning and progress for the future of Spring Valley, what we would like to see as a community take place. I'm a strong believer that if we widen our tax base, the burden is less on all of you. So, what businesses do we bring in? How many new homes do we build and things like that? And, you have your ideas and I probably have my own, but I don't like making decisions on what I think is best for you. I want to know what's best for you. So really quick, some guidelines that we would appreciate that you follow during this meeting. There is no time limit, but we do ask that you step up to the podium if you're going to speak. We will be done promptly at 8 o'clock. We will not go on through the night. We'll cut it off at 8. If you didn't get a chance to speak, I would welcome you to contact me or Chris, and we'll be happy to discuss anything that was not discussed here tonight. We do ask that you keep it cordial, and then whoever is speaking at the podium, please don't speak over them. Their idea may not match yours, and you may not like their idea. Please don't speak over them and tell them, that's stupid. You'll have your time if you choose to step up and speak as well. And then whether or not Chris and I agree with you, no decisions are going to be made tonight. No promises are being made tonight. We'll take this information back to council. They'll likely be watching this as well, either live tonight or later in the week. And really, we likely wouldn't answer any questions. Generally, we don't. We may if we feel like it's necessary, but general rule is we would not answer any questions. And I did want to mention, of course, tax dollars are always tight. I am big on not taking more than we need. That's your money, you should be able to spend it as you choose. We're up against $30 million between the wastewater treatment plant and street improvements on the southeast side of town. So we've got an uphill climb. However, I do believe there's a lot that can be done with very little money or even no money. For examples, the Willow Creek Disc Golf Course. That was a $14,000 project. It cost the city about $500 because donated time, materials, and grants. So, a great example. Also as well, the bike program, if you've seen the bikes parked out at Sunshine Food, that was also another grant. It cost the city $35, $40. So there's a lot that can be done. I gave an example at council meeting on Monday night. Wednesdays on Broadway, that's an event, so it's a little different, but really their budget is very, very low. And they've done a phenomenal job, and things can be done without taking more tax dollars. So, with all that being said, Chris, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I think you pretty much said it there. You just go for it.
All right, let's get started.
Yeah.
Who would like to go? Oh, and I should mention, Todd has been very, very much kind not to put you on camera as you speak. He's going to focus all on us, which is awkward for me.
We were trying to figure out a way to keep it up at Justin and just have it on the beauty and the wisdom in the room, but
Zoom in. And if you were here for the first one, you'll notice that the setup is a little different. I got feedback last time that the crowd was not able to hear very clearly because the podium was there and they were speaking towards us. So we kind of switched it a little to see if that would help. So don't be intimidated that you're now standing in front of everybody.
don't notice everybody looking at you.
Yeah, and just look at us and aim your comments towards us. Anyone that would like to get started?
It's going to be the shortest town hall meeting.
Who wants to be first?
City council meeting.
This is better than a city council meeting. I wish all of you would come to those.
And that is always open to the public. Anybody can come.
My name is Jerry Cleveland. I used to be on the park board when they still had a park board. I understand that there's a possibility of getting that going again. Seems to me to be a great idea. I really like the idea of the city doing things that benefit all of us. You know, for example, the bike trail that we've gotten. It's a pretty nice bike trail, of course, just out and back. But I think there's more that we could do. For example, where the bike trail ends down on West High Street, there's a stream that comes down there. If they could follow that stream, they could go right up to the park, which would make it really nice for kids, you know, especially small kids, to get back and forth without having to cross so many streets and things like that. And I realize that's going to be along private property and along the stream, but and some of that's agricultural land. Doesn't mean that they couldn't put a bike trail out there. If we got really ambitious, we could actually go out to the railroad right away and go clear up there to the other end of town, where close to where the A&W used to be, and then join the trails. Could go all the way around town. That could get a lot more use. Thanks.
Thank you. I do want to comment, council is currently in discussions on creating either a park and rec committee or board. There's discussions taking place, so hopefully we'll have a word on that soon.
Okay, so for progress, I think, coming into town, driving into town, I think, moving from no mow May to maybe not, just don't mow June. So that would maybe be one of the ordinances that we would, work on, that would be fabulous. That would be really helpful to neighbors of people that don't mow. We have a neighbor in our neighborhood who's trying to sell their house, and, the house beside is a wreck, but a mowed lawn would be nice, so that would be really helpful. It would be wonderful, progress, businesses, things like that, that maybe come into town that either buy a building. I don't know if it's possible, so we're just popping out ideas, but it would be really nice that whoever owns or buys a business building downtown, if they could possibly have a business plan within 1 year, 2 years, something needs to go in there. We cannot have these dilapidated buildings and nobody takes care of them. There needs to be a business plan. And whether that be to fix up the apartments above and rent it out, that's a business plan, but then it needs to happen. We'd like to see, I would like to see that, because there's just too much, that's not filled in. And, KWAL was here yesterday, and they did some shots, and I'm like, I love our town, and I think it's so cute, and then the shots she did, I'm like, they don't, not every shot looked great, and I feel like we can do better with that in our buildings. And then just ideas, the Wednesdays on Broadway, or the Park and Rec Board, or the signage, they're all just ideas that someone came up with. Anybody can bring their idea plus a grant, boom, just like Justin said. So armchair quarterback, other people's ideas, not helpful. But if other people have ideas, try it out, or join the idea that you see that is a great idea, or your armchair quarterbacking to make it better. So I would just, I would love to get more and more and more people involved in those ideas, and bring your own. Like Justin said, I mean, at $500 you could come and do something. So that's it, thank you.
So you're not in favor of no mow May?
I don't care.
No.
Nope, I
I
don't
was just
care, and
gonna-
that's fine, and I understand the all of that.
I was just gonna say, I've caught more hate on that proclamation than I think anything I've done in my life.
I was just waiting for June 1st.
Yeah.
I can deal with it.
She was reserving the hate until
Okay.
June.
Yeah, but with June 1st, you're like,
Thank you.
yes.
Thanks, Sarah.
And thank you for the meeting. This is fabulous for us to have it.
Anyone else? We said last time that we didn't want Todd to fill up the entire
I
hour.
don't have anything. I don't.
You don't have anything?
I'll run up some time in the next So, like Sarah was saying with the ordinance, and you all were saying with enforcing ordinances, downtown property on the south side is probably one of the first places you all should look. Yeah, get things up to par down there. We're getting everything else in place, so. And like Sarah said, if y'all got an idea, start acting on it. It's fun to do stuff. And those that came before me doing stuff, like Dave Phillips and Dave Foster, thank you all for what you've done for this community. And we're following in your footsteps. So, thank you. Now we can talk about it.
I'm just curious, how many people have actually gone down to Wednesdays on Broadway on a regular basis? How many of you have invited friends to bring their booze down here?
I don't have friends.
We know that. Booze, whatever, they're cottage businesses. I was just curious because it's the last year that it was very full down there for the most part, and it was encouraging. It's nice to come home on a Wednesday from work and look down the hill and see the street just full of people, so.
I'm back with the junk. I realize there's all this going on to clean up Broadway, we're focusing on downtown, but what about our neighborhoods? What happened to citywide cleanup day? Where did that go? Come on, people, we need to clean up our neighborhoods.
Anyone else?
Anybody?
Hello, Dave Foster, for those that don't know me. I just want to compliment you on one of the ordinances that you're enforcing, is the building ordinance that went back into effect. I'm a retired contractor and dealt with building codes and ordinances for a long time, and I never had an issue with it, and I was sorry it was for a while they quit, but I'm glad to see it back. Appears it's going pretty well from what I've talked with Safe Build, one of their representatives, and Jordan. There's been a couple of contractors call me. There were some projects that they asked me about, and we checked that out. And they weren't permitted, but a phone call to Safe Build, and things were taken care of. So I compliment council for implementing that, and also contracting with the inspection company to do that for you. It's a lot easier to have someone else do that than City Hall dealing with that. And, from what I've gathered from employees at City Hall and some of the contractors, it's been pretty painless and pretty good seeing fit. So just thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Hey, my name's RJ. Don't really have much to say, but I just moved here from Virginia, and I don't know if anyone is familiar with Beverly Sandlin, who runs an Airbnb over on Park Street, but I'm going to be sort of helping her retire and sort of taking the reins there and be the new steward there. But I've been here about a month and a half. I just want to say I think the town is awesome, and I think it's really cute and nice what you have going here, and I appreciate having the town hall meeting. So I just want to sort of introduce myself and say, hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
You were picturing Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls, weren't you?
You got something else for me?
I'll ask questions.
Yeah, there we go. Cool.
You know, this meeting's about progress and where we're going. So I started Fins and Films. My grandmother was telling me stories about, they used to show movies on the tobacco wall, the world's largest tobacco plug. And that kind of got me going. So I kind of want to ask questions. What, you know, I'm focused on downtown, I'm focused on signage, focused on the industrial park. What areas need development in this town that maybe myself, the SVBA, the Chamber, Community Foundation aren't seeing? Or the city, what roads are in desperate need of repair? I know there's a multi-year plan, but you know, maybe we're missing something, so. Like, anyone got any comments on that? No, everything's great?
What would you do to bring businesses to town?
Well, just what we are doing, revitalize downtown. I'd invest more, if I was on the city, I'd invest into the industrial park.
Yeah, too bad we couldn't have got that Amazon thing next door. Holy cow, that's
All right, I'm gonna comment on that. Thank you, sir.
Wow.
It all sounds great. If you Google though, they're shutting down and opening facilities all the time, and I don't wanna put 100 people out of work in a couple of months.
Right.
So it sounds good, the package is bright and shiny, but sometimes anyways.
Well, that too, the infrastructure we have to implement to get that, we might be out. So, yeah, industrial park, anyone got any comments on how maybe we could get that moving forwards more? Advertising dollars? Does anyone think that giving away land for free is helping or hurting, or advertise that more, or?
Are you talking specifically in an industrial park?
Park? Or, I mean, could that be implemented downtown or other areas to, you know, tax-free exclusion zones?
Are you talking about like a TIF, a tax increment finance district? I remember things.
Maybe a better question is, and you mentioned industrial park, which is great. We do need to expand there and look at ways that we can fill out that entire property. But I, for one, do not like going to Rochester. I only go when I absolutely have to, and generally it's because of work or because it's something I can't purchase in Spring Valley. So what
My wife
services
thinks
or business do we not currently have that we need to attract to Spring Valley so that you don't have to go to Rochester or another surrounding community?
Well, I've got an idea. Perhaps, like a kid zone, you know, they have like Pips Weeks, they have different indoor kids play areas in Rochester that I know people will go to in, you know, inclement weather. Like if we go up to Rochester, we're gonna go to Air Insanity, or we're gonna go to, like I said, Pips Weeks. Could we do some kind of indoor play area for kids of wide ages, I would say maybe up to like 14 or so, you know, like they can come and, you know, I don't know, work out or, you know, ride a slide or jump on a trampoline or something like that, where we can do this indoors in the winter to give these kids something more to do. And I mean, Parks and Rec and community, or Kingsland Community Education, they do a wonderful job of organizing different activities, but it's all very structured. And so I'm just thinking, you know, we had an indoor play place for kids where the parents can say, yep, they're going somewhere safe, they're not coming around the streets trying to just find something to do. That would be helpful for this community. There's a lot of kids right now that, especially this summer, I'm noticing that just kind of are going from one house to another, and, you know, not exactly being supervised, and so it would be nice to have an indoor play place for kids.
So, would your mic have picked that up?
Probably, but if you wanna,
Okay, to summarize, an indoor, child recreation area, something like Air Insanity or Spark or something along those lines in town. Great business opportunity, great nonprofit opportunity. You know, maybe a church could set something up in their basement over the winter or something like that. So, yeah, I'd love to see that downtown. Anyone else? I'm up here just to try to get people to talk. If anyone wants to talk, I will.
You become the MC of the night.
what about,
Do you want to sit here?
No. Do you wanna come up here?
I could.
You wanna?
well, he has a mic, so, when we in Spring Valley, we look at other towns in Fillmore County in particular, Preston, Lanesboro, Rushford, even Wayland with their pie, is the pie shop still open? Okay, I haven't had a good piece of pie in a long time, so. Harmony. We know that they have a connecting reality of the trail system, that they are connected, and we know going back to 2000, the mindset was the bike trail will eventually connect, and we also learned the hard way that the state is not in favor of that. But what things that besides the bike trail are creating business opportunities in towns like Preston and Lanesboro and Harmony, and you know, Fountain is even seeing an increase in business that is not related to your normal small town stuff. Fountain's not getting your grocery store. They're lucky. Do they even have a gas station anymore?
I don't go that way. It's scary.
No, I don't think so. He did, did you just call Fountain scary?
Oh,
Oh my god. But, well,
Alright,
and
so
that's how the Great
Being
War.
cordial, we don't want to tear down other communities
So
as
the-
no,
well.
I was just
Great
joking.
stuff.
Fountain, you lovely community, I love it. I just don't drive that way. It's not you, it's me.
It's-
Thank you.
I
Thank
think
you
you
for
just broke
clarifying.
up with Fountain.
That happened a long
What
time ago.
what type of things outside of? Yeah, we could use some more industry here. No argument there. But what kind of things can we get to bring people into Spring Valley on a weekend? Is what I'm curious about. Like, we've seen the success of Wednesdays on Broadway. I mean, anybody who's been down there knows how successful that is. And when you talk to the vendors that are there, I've done some man on the street stuff with some of the vendors, and they're like, this, for the size of town that Spring Valley is, they're impressed with the turnout. And we all know that the vast majority of the people that are going to Wednesdays on Broadway in Spring Valley are not from town. They're not. So what can we do to replicate that as a community? What can we do to encourage it? Because I love that Justin wants to have this conversation and that the city council wants to be involved. But as the more you get to know me, the more I'm about, no, like, I don't care what the city council wants. What do we want, and how are we going to encourage the council to get behind that without it costing us more by way of tax dollars? Because that's the one thing everybody's like, oh no, my tax. They want to do what? What does the community think? What do you, as the residents here, what do you see as being a necessity to increase that traffic flow on a Friday, Saturday, and even into a Sunday evening?
Well, I think that we are moving in the right direction as opposed to those other towns. I frequent them often, and Lanesboro for retail is, they have their shops, and a lot of them have closed, so I feel like we're really progressing towards that. What they have, and what I'm seeing more and more come into my shop is campers. It's cheaper for families to do. We are in such an awesome spot that they can go to Preston and fish. They can get on their bike and go someplace, even if they have to, trail their bike someplace, they can still do that. So we see a lot of campers from all over the place, and I know the city has a campground, and I know that probably tax dollars to improve that, but or maybe just more advertising with the campgrounds around, but I just feel like that's a real big, a lot more families are doing that. And Lanesboro has, I don't know, probably at least 4 to 5 campgrounds around them. And, they don't always spend a lot, but they're in town, and they're going to, on a rainy day, they're gonna be looking for something to do for their kids, and that's what we see. It's raining, what do you have going on? I think that is a bit of an untapped area. You don't necessarily have to have a creek or a river or a bike trail, but just because, that's what I tell the people that come into our store, everything is about 20 minutes to 30 minutes away. So staycations and things like that, I just think that would be a really good thing, a weekend thing.
And let's enclose the pool so we have year-round swimming.
You don't want to swim outside in January here? Have you not?
You mean slide?
So, I got 2 things on that. The camping, I talked last week on this, and I totally forgot because I was gonna talk about it tonight. In-town camping, Lanesboro does it. I don't know what it would take for Spring Valley to do it, but Spring Creek Park, back behind City Hall, and Willow Creek Park are just beautiful places. Pitch a tent, put a fire ring. The pool, how can we make our pool, it's gonna fall on my generation, and possibly even it's gonna fall on my generation to make it right for my daughter. How can we get the pool a new pool, or a new indoor facility, or beach facility, or anything,
You could build a monolithic dome right over the top of one you got.
okay?
And it used to be a lot warmer when I was a kid.
Is that because you were smaller and,
Well, I
Good save.
can never get in that pool now, it's so cold.
Didn't they have
So-
solar heating
It was
in the
solar
past?
heated.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, I know that this is where we're getting into tax dollars, right? And that was the point, okay, fine. Very well.
And let me clarify, I'm not against it, if we need to, I'm not against it, we can explore that, I'm just saying that the reality of the next 5 to 10 years, things are gonna be really tight.
Right,
So it's not, we're not opposed to it, but
right, I know, and that's the thing, when I'm thinking of the things I wanna see as a parent in the community, they take tax dollars, right? Improving our school, that's always been a hassle. It requires tax dollars. Investing in the swimming pool, as a parent, it's really difficult to take the kids there because when you get a bunch of kids there and there's no room for parents to sit on the sides and watch our kids, there's just not enough concrete to put more chairs. If we could extend that in the future and just give more room so that parents actually have room to be at the pool with their kids, that would be great. There's a lot of updates that need to be done there, I think, and I know that, community pools, they're a very costly investment, but they're a good investment. I think that it's something for kids to do in the summertime, and I think we need to be investing in those kinds of activities for them as well. So that's my 2 cents on the swimming pool.
I'm just gonna make a quick comment on pool and the use of it. So when I was a teenager, 25 years ago, every Friday night it was packed. You
Right.
couldn't get in because there was already too many people in, and you brought a DJ down from KROC, and it was a big, huge pool party. We don't do things like that anymore, and I don't know the cost of something like that. And nowadays with wireless speakers, you could probably do that without a DJ, but, again, there's things we can do, and, anyway.
I heard Millarton drops a sick beat once in a while.
yeah, I don't know. You don't want me drunk.
Was it, RJ, have you been running the Airbnb?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your customer base? Are they, obviously they're from out of, well, I hope they're from out of town. It'd be weird if you had to use our Airbnb.
Yeah.
You never, I'm always one bad comment away from using Airbnb.
It's mostly people from the surrounding area, like maybe within like a couple hours from here. It's mostly people who are looking for like a weekend type of getaway. And it's been kind of varied. It's mostly people, I'd say, about like my generation, so like 30s, like upper 20s at least. I don't have a ton of experience running it, so it started, this year. But so far, that's what it's been so far. And so that's why I'm also interested about the ideas for stuff going on the weekends. Like I've heard that there's like music in the gazebo down there sometimes and stuff.
Do you have information about what's going on in town?
I don't know.
Okay, maybe that's something that.
Yeah.
See that,
Like, Buck Brothers on weekends, they're all there, that's a brewery. You know, whatever,
Yes, it
going
is.
on downtown and the music and
Great.
stuff, so maybe the city can help you advertise what's going on in town.
Yeah,
so
that's what we
people
would love
come
to do,
in.
is have kind of like a arrival guide or tour guide for like if you're coming into Spring Valley, what there is to do in the area, because that's also a draw for us, if people don't have to go very far to be able to be entertained or have things to do like that, so I think that'd be a great sort of.
Are you getting feedback, or have you heard any feedback from people like, it's a quaint town, but like, what do you guys got?
I haven't heard any feedback from quite like that yet. People generally are very like positive feedback in terms of their time here. I haven't heard a lot about specifically like Spring Valley itself, but that's something that like me and Bev are really trying to push more. Is kind of like boosting businesses up around here for that reason. Like we've got some like the menu from the tap house like 81.
Stellar one?
Stellar, yeah. So we've got like some menus there out for folks to look at. And we have like a couple like Bluff County tour guides and stuff like that. So definitely like interested in that sort of engagement there. But it would be a good idea to start asking people, what brings them into the area and like what are they here to do besides just sort of
sometimes that's all they want.
What brought you here?
I was actually just on a road trip and happened to stop at the Airbnb and stay there and really liked it and liked Spring Valley. I was honestly back in January, which was an odd time to be here, but I had a really great time. And I was kind of just looking for a life switch up and something else to do. So I was like a software engineer and something like computer, just kind of got tired of doing that. So really like also like Beverly, me and her hit it off, and so she sort of made me the offer to, she wanted to retire. I was looking for someone to sort of take the reins and take over. So decided to do that and been here for about a month and a half or so. Yeah.
So we're currently also in discussions to get a tourism board going. And I think it would be a huge benefit to have a tour guide, a small brochure, because I guarantee you, if you look hard enough, there's something you could do every weekend here in Spring Valley. And at one point in my life, I thought I would try and put that list together, and it's never happened. But I think there is enough to do, at least something every week. You can find something to do in Spring Valley, and usually it's pretty exciting.
There was some sort of list like that, where would you think is the best place to sort of like advertise or host that? Is it sort of like any plug-in like the greater like Fillmore County, or is it like the Spring Valley website?
Dave Phillips is the best person now. He currently runs our Discover Spring Valley Facebook page, and
Okay.
Does a great job.
he's amazing at it.
Cool.
Years ago, we used to have a tourist information center.
Yeah, that was.
I knew that was
great.
coming.
Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Up on the, and that was, Carol and I both worked there. And that was a lovely place to go. We had a lot of people come in, what do you got to do? And all of these questions that you're asking, we were able to supply them. That building is gone.
I drive by that corner nearly every day, maybe
Yes.
multiple times a day, and I still miss it.
Maybe that's something, maybe just move a little portable trailer house in there in the summertime, whatever you can afford to
Little
do.
sheds.
That's what it
A
was.
little shed, yeah.
Yeah,
Another one out there.
greenhouse is always selling those little
Yeah.
sheds.
I say we put Martin out there in a bikini with a spinning sign, so
It's
You
a,
don't want me spinning signs.
we don't want you in a bikini.
I would also suggest that the Spring Valley update their website. The EDA isn't too bad, but I just looked on the EDA today, and many of those businesses that are listed are not here any longer. So, I don't know whose responsibility it is, but you would be able to just Google City of Spring Valley and the website, and it is not good. Put it that way, it is not good, and, that should not be something that's, hard to do and keep up to date. And, we may not know that you had come in, as a new person, but you should be able to Google,
Right.
that kind of thing, and it would pop up and up to date. The chamber has their, members, SVBA has their members. You don't know the difference with that, but if you go to the Spring Valley website and the EDA, that should be kept up to date. And it should look more friendly, and, it should have a number that you can call and somebody will answer. So, just things like that. I have one other question.
If you two
I
keep
know.
speaking the entire time, you're gonna have a chair up here next time.
It's the Greg and Sarah Show, podcast. And, so to your point, would something like, let's say Air Insanity or something like that, so say it's like a cool shed, can that be something that's in the industrial park? Something like that? Or doesn't that fit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'd have to
Is
check
that
into it.
safe,
There
or-
are,
Where's our planning and
Restrictions.
zoning guy? I was just saying, is it all zoned strictly, industrial out there?
So not.
Industrial,
not-
commercial, or industrial and commercial? Services, okay.
Service business, so that would not fit?
because you've got like pens out there, they're not, industrial, but
Yeah.
they're
Well, but
service.
they're service, yeah.
Right.
I'm just
So-
thinking, then you wouldn't have to like go find a building, and you could do it, you could rock climbing wall, or, all that kind of stuff, so that would be something like that. That would be a good spot right there for it too, yeah.
don't mean to call either of you out. You're more than welcome to be here and talk as much as you like.
Oh,
I appreciate
read
it.
between the lines.
Shortest stint of mayor ever.
So has this discussion brought any questions in your minds up?
No, not yet, but it is good to hear that some of the things I'm thinking are also being thought of by you as well.
With the industrial park, I've thought maybe mowing some of the lots, or at least a couple of the lots as a showcase may help, or sprucing up the lots a little bit. And I'm not a big sprucer upper, but being on the corner, I try to keep my lot as nice as possible. My house not so much.
It's pretty well hidden.
But you know, it's a representation of the city, and if we're trying to sell these lots and sell them to businesses, we should make them presentable. And, grass, you know, waist high isn't the greatest. It ain't gotta be the whole thing, just a couple, hey, look at these lots.
Dave, did you have something?
Take it away, Greg.
Nope, I'm just trying to.
Some ideas on the industrial park. I agree with Mayor Maliner. You don't want Amazon coming to town. You know, if they wanted to come, they're welcome, but, I think if we concentrate on, you know, Amazon hires 100 people, why don't we have 10 businesses that hire 10 people? Because the economic impact on a slowdown is a lot less on that. Maybe one of those businesses will go out there, two, shut down, but it doesn't shut the whole thing down. So I think that's one of the things to look at, and don't turn anything down. Let's kind of look at that a little bit more. You know, if I hire 5 people, that's great to have. But, you know, you look at the businesses out there, the industry, you have Cappers, SATA, A&D. Those are the right size companies for a town like Spring Valley. If you had 10 more of those out there, just think how great that would be.
Yeah.
You'd fill up the park. So that's one thing I'd suggest that the city and EDA, Dave and I talked about that before, look at. And then on the tourism thing, you know, most of these communities, Lanesboro, them all have a niche. Well, Spring Valley needs a niche. And I discussed this with a few people before. And he reached out to the agricultural community to see if they would be interested in tourism. We have dairy, beef, pork production going on, cash crop farmers. But we can, if they, you know, and let people come down, people from the cities, their kids, when you go down to Forestville, those kids love that old stuff and seeing how things are done. Well, you know, what little kid doesn't like a big 4-wheel drive tractor in a combine out there, the 12-row head going down the field? It's something you can maybe incorporate with agricultural.
If I'm understanding you right, people would pay to come and be farmhands?
Well, not necessarily.
That would work great for the farmers, I think, I don't know.
Well,
It is actually,
help
yeah,
them,
it
they
is,
did it for nothing, they would love that.
Yeah.
But, and there's opportunity there, and I think, you know, we're strong by agriculture, we live here on the prairie, we live on the rolling hills, and, you know, that's what we are, we're agriculture. So maybe expound on that, you know, some of these farmers are always looking for ways to be creative too, and, it brings awareness in the agricultural community, and, a lot of these, you know, kids don't, they think milk comes from the carton in the store.
I'm surprised somebody hasn't brought an Amish tour surface business here to Spring Valley, because we now have the largest growing community of Amish, not to mention the fact if the Amish know you're gonna be bringing a tour around, they'll have everything set up outside right in their driveway for you to stop and buy.
Did you
What
just
about
say,
corn maze?
didn't you just say something about not having pie lately?
I did, and I'm almost to target weight, so I am ready for pie, so.
The Amish will take care of that for you.
So, you know, Todd talked about the Amish community, but you also have modern agriculture community.
Yeah,
It used to
absolutely.
be, you know, cause I know that was talked about before, 25 years ago, a couple of us talked about that. Bike trails going through out in agriculture, well, there's farmers that were not happy with that because they put manure out there, and it's, like today, had, I saw a half a dozen farmers out spraying crops out by me. People go by that and they're afraid they're gonna die because there's some spray coming across. And, so it's things like that to work through, but that bring an awareness out. So I think, you know, that'd be one thing to explore.
Thank you.
I just want a distillery in town, that's all. I want a distillery, make it happen,
Oh.
Mr. Mayor.
I approached someone about that, and unfortunately, they are not able to, but we can continue to look at it.
If I knew anything about chemistry. Hmm?
Just boiling.
She's like, I'll do it. No, you won't. What time is it, Justin?
It is 7:43.
Do we have any plan to get more trees back in, especially after the ash borer's gone through and killed a bunch?
Not currently, but I hope so.
I'd like to see some of them.
Are you talking like boulevard trees?
Any trees, old trees, there's not enough trees.
More trees.
He just wants trees everywhere. More trees.
You're like that painter, Bob Ross.
Yeah.
Start off with the
Trees.
beautiful landscape.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it's just all trees.
Beside the sidewalk.
Okay. Is that an
That's been
ordinance?
around forever.
That's an ordinance? or-
Yeah,
What's that?
You can't plant
In
on
the boulevard.
Yeah, that's why I was asking if you meant boulevard trees, was
You can't.
because there's, yeah. Yeah, that's why I was bringing it.
We ought to change that.
no,
Well,
that wrecked
Well,
sidewalk.
Yeah.
It not only does it wreck the sidewalk, but if you get too close to a corner, then it becomes a
A visual
visual
barrier,
issue,
yeah.
but, yeah. And if you start taking sidewalks out, people get upset because they want sidewalks to walk on safely, and I'm getting myself in a lot of hot water by telling people that's a good idea.
trees are a great idea. There is, somebody will know, who is it that sells trees, like at bulk discount? They do it every year. Somebody does it around here. The county, the extension. Yeah, so there is an extension, like an ag extension that sells like a wide variety of trees, and they're like at super, I mean, they're barely saplings, but they're really low price, so if you're ever looking for trees for your own property, look in this, is it spring that they do that, or do they take the order in the winter?
I think they take the order in February.
Yeah.
And then look up on your property, don't plant it under lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or on top of a water main.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have. Oh, there's a line.
Anyone else?
I'll say one thing.
Yeah, come on.
This is more of an observation, but when, about 15 years ago, I was on the REV group. That's, there was the Southern, Minnesota Initiative Foundation. It stands for, Rural Entrepreneurs Vision, I think it was. I can't remember what the V was. But, we were paired with Lanesboro, so we met together. And we were all surprised. Lanesboro was very envious of Spring Valley because they don't have any manufacturing. They didn't have a grocery store at that time. They don't have a pharmacy. They don't have an eye doctor. I mean, they were no dentist, no. So, I mean, I still think we need to do something on tourism, but there is a lot here that is, better for people who live here.
Yeah.
So,
Leansboro blows away in the winter.
yeah.
Yeah, Spring Valley is a little bit better than Stewartville because they get absorbed into Rochester. We are far enough away that we're better off.
And also that's something that I appreciate about Spring Valley when I got here is that it is kind of like, you know, more rural, especially around like Northern Virginia, but there is a ton of stuff in town, kind of the hardware store and the grocery store and stuff like that. It is like super nice to have, so.
And they, I used to have offices in other towns in, like Preston and, Spring Grove, and they couldn't believe we got pizza delivered to our house. I think we're the only place in the county that has that, so,
Now you can get it from two places.
yeah.
And certainly, we don't want to do things and be successful just to make other communities envious or jealous. But the stronger we get, the stronger other communities will get, because our county will get stronger. So it's a downstream effect, and I would be more than happy to work with Lanesboro or any other community fountain. You know.
Because you're the one that wants to go to war with Fountain, so.
Ask them. I have issues
Anyhow,
with.
you know, I'd be more than happy to work with any community to join together and become stronger together. It's not about Spring Valley becoming strong, it's about all of us.
I'll admit to a little bit of a bias, because I might know the people who operate the Historical Society Museum, but I think it's if you're from town and you haven't been to the museum, by the way, I don't really will attest to the fact that it's a great place to go, even if you're from town. But I had somebody that I brought to the museum. You met him almost a month ago now, three or 4 weeks ago now, who's from Ohio, and he came over to go to the Spam Museum, and I'm like, hey, you should need to stop and see an actual museum, not a museum made of Spam. But he loved it, and he's putting together a little short interview of the director of the Historical Society audio that he's going to be showing with clips from pictures inside of the museum. But the Historical Society is also now working with, so like Sips and Sugar was just down there on a Sunday, which is great, because when we have a business like that that's able to travel, and they're able to come to town when everybody's favorite here in town is closed on Sunday, there's no competition, but it drew a crowd. And there again, I may or may not know who runs the museum right now, but they reported one of the best days they'd ever had in the history of the museum for traffic, just because of Sips and Sugar being there. And a lot of them were people from town. We're like, we didn't even realize this was here.
When they had the popcorn wagon the week before, so I was really disappointed this last Sunday when there was nothing there.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be a weekly thing.
You know where it's at. But I think that's something that people ask me, where do you live? Because literally in Rochester pretty much every day. Where do you live? And I tell them, and they're like, what's there to do there? And I'm like, oh, how much time do you have? I point them to the restaurants. I point them to, and I know that everybody that's here probably does the same thing. But that's why I think something like Wednesdays on Broadway is really good, because it is bringing other people to town, and we just had another, I'm surprised nobody mentioned it. We just had, 2 more businesses now open up in town? One that's getting ready to open, what's that called? Calla Lily? Yeah, and the green, refillery.
Yeah, that's great.
Where's that gonna be? Where is that?
Is
it just downtown here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right next to Mettler's. And so those are things that the more business that we bring in, the more we attract people, even if they're not moving here. The more we attract people, the more for all of our talk about taxes, and everybody knows there again, who knows me knows how I feel about all of that. The more we attract businesses, the more money that the town makes from more businesses in town, the more that levels out the playing field on the tax burden for everybody. It makes it better for everyone. And a lot of businesses will pay for their own improvements. They will literally step in and pay for their own improvements. Nobody really owns a business, sits there and lets it dilapidate. They just won't. They want to do better. And so I would, if you know somebody who's looking for a place to open a business, even if it's just completely, in your mind, it's just crackpot, like, that's never gonna work, tell them. Because I know when they started Wednesdays on Broadway and Fins and Film, everybody's like, that's not, and then until you come down here on a Wednesday. I'd love to see that bleed over to a Saturday. I'd love to see a once a weekend, or once a month weekend get together in downtown Spring Valley. Imagine packing a town like Spring Valley with 2 days. You're not celebrating egg days, you're just having a street thing where all your pop-up businesses or whatever you want to call them are able to come down there and do that. Farmers markets are huge. They're massive, and people, when they know you're there and you're encouraging it and advertising it, they will show. So I know Justin's getting ready to wrap up, but I will say that this will be out for people if they want to go back and listen. And I will be sitting down with Justin. It's open to all of the city council city council members. After they've had time to review this, if you would like to sit down and have a conversation about what your ideas and your thoughts are about what was talked about tonight, I'd be more than happy to schedule time with you. We'll definitely be doing another mayoral meandering and follow up to tonight's, because I think we have even more to talk about than we did last time. So
We'll have to set a time limit. We talked too long.
no, everybody loved it. Actually, it was probably one of the they liked it more than the original town hall.
One comment?
Yeah.
Don't forget that we have a wonderful library here and a
Yes.
wonderful library staff.
Yes.
And they have programs running for kids already.
Yeah. It started today.
Yes.
Today, yes.
100
Over 100
kids.
kids.
Our kids love the owls there, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
those people do a wonderful job.
and it's amazing that it's only what, two and a half people,
Actually, it's 3.
2 full-time and 1 part-time.
Part-time and three full, well, 3, 2 full, half, and half.
I'm just trying to figure out where you found a half a person.
Half and a half.
Let's just put it this way, the staff is very, very minimal, and they
Yeah.
pull it off. They do really well. And they do have help from the Friends of the Spring Valley Library, but, yeah, they're doing great.
It's gonna be great when the building gets redone.
I just want to say, I think it would be great to have any business come to town, big or small. I am really against having someone like McDonald's or Starbucks or Walmart come in. But at the end of the day, if
Don't
that's
pick
gonna
you.
help our community, I'm okay with it, but I would love to keep it to local, small-town business owners. I think that's important. I think that's a huge pull, when you can say, I mean, we do have Subway, Dairy Queen, Quick Trip could even be considered a larger corporation, Casey's, we have those, but a large majority of our businesses are local and locally owned small businesses. And I'm proud of that. I think that's wonderful, and I really hope we can keep it that way. I don't want to bring Amazon in.
Don't mention Amazon again.
We're gonna get
You're
through.
really riled on that one.
New city ordinance.
Anyway, we got about, I'll,
Couple minutes.
I don't think I can write a proclamation on that, but if I could, I would. We got like 4 minutes left, 3.5. Anybody else have anything else they want to get off their chest before we?
Spring Valley signs on the outside of town.
I know someone that might be working on that.
I'm all ears.
Oh,
They're in
boy.
my crosshairs, so
I know smaller towns that have better signs than we do. We need to update them.
I'm working on it.
They done yet?
So to speak briefly on that,
Help them out.
we're gonna be forming a committee. Next month, we're gonna be going before the city council to ask for their blessing to form this committee. And then we're gonna be pursuing. I will be giving updates as we go along, and I wanna hear all feedback possible on how the sign should look, how the logo should look, and where they need to go. And if anyone has property to donate, like I do, we need a couple locations. So I think that's gonna be our biggest hurdle for property.
Does MnDOT get involved with that at all?
Of course. I don't know how much involvement. I know it's gonna be a hurdle. Dave Phillips was on the last committee about 20 years ago that did this. He said MnDOT can be a bear to work with. It's a challenge we gotta take on. The city is beautiful. It's worth advertising. I wasn't gonna say anything, but thank you.
I was gonna say, Greg, get on.
How about a warming house for the ice rink in the winter? used to be really crowded when they had a warming house. When that disappeared, the ice was practically.
And you have to have somebody work there.
Or maybe even, like putting the ice on concrete instead of the ground where it just gets soaked in. I mean, I understand that it's gonna get soaked in anyway, but something kind of like Wyckoff has built over there, where it's a little more permanent structure and, you know, somebody doesn't have to go out there ever so often, just trying to keep it frozen. Otherwise it just gets soft and crunchy pretty easily.
Yeah, if we had more than 2 weeks this winter, that it was cold and.
Yeah, right.
We've had more winter this summer than we had winter in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you both. Like 1 minute left. Going once, going twice. All right, I appreciate everybody coming out again tonight. If it's your first time, please come back. We're gonna continue these quarterly. We got started late with the first one. It was in April, it should have been earlier than that, but we'll continue them quarterly, and we're planning for September, and we'll figure out a topic and get that advertised. However, like I said, you're free to say whatever you want when you come here. If it's not on topic, it's perfectly fine. We'll hear you out, and we'll listen. Like I said, it's your meeting. All right, thank you all again. Have a great night. I hope it's not raining, but if it is, stay dry.
Next quarter's topic is King for Life.
Yeah, take care. Yeah, well, I never commented, but I'm part of the old town. But I
that's all right.
we came to town.
Everyone was talking about Saturday.
Oh, God.
Going to Rochester. There's, I think there's a good one that goes tomorrow. There's one all the way over at Crescent, but I think Rochester and Austin are going to be I'm going to the Rochester one here. Yep. I just got back from Chatfield just before we came over here to do that little one too. And I brought my son with me that time. He was waving his American flag, having a good time. So it was good. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
They didn't hire, normally they hire a person, they didn't hire anyone sits on the street.
Well, I've been on the.
Should have, because the guys here, they've got a lot of roles. But God, they got a role for losing their role.
They go too fast.
You can't get close enough to like any player, right? It's old. And then grab.
So, think local, act local. That's what we do. So, it's all about getting involved. We can't complain about how bad government is if we're not willing to go out and, in some respects, put our neck on the line in philosophically and go out and say, hey, let's talk about what we can do to have a better community and to improve our towns, our communities. So that stuff's important. It's very important. So I'm going to end it here. Hope you guys are having a good night, and thanks for tuning in. See you next time.